This makes me think of the ocean. So you said there were snow creatures in here? Objects are amazing learning tools because they're concrete. They're things that children can interact with. I think a good object is one that engages the children, that they are interested in looking at, that they want to point out new things on, something that has elements that are familiar to children and elements that they're unfamiliar with.
I have a different type of stamp. This one looks pretty different, right, Leo? It's a little bit heavier, and see what it feels like.
It's heavy.
We do this great thinking routine of see, think, wonder, where we ask them, okay, what do you see? What do you wonder? What do you think about the piece? And so it kind of draws them in a little bit more and gets them to like really think a lot deeper about what they're looking at.
An object for learning, as long as they're able to touch it and learn from it, it can be anything. Today we were simulating tsunamis or large waves. We sat on our carpet, we gave them that big blue sheet, and we started waving it, kind of simulating wind.
Uh-oh, there's an earthquake!
And so we would start like soft and then get bigger and bigger as the wind started to blow harder. That was really fun to them.
An object can be so many things. You're looking at it closely, you're gaining information about how it works.
We're interested in showing kids all of the connections in the world. Let's look at how you're doing science. You're a scientist because you are looking closely at that object. If you're asking me a question about something you see, you're doing science. That's what our scientists in the lab are doing.
The experience of finding an object, discovering it, and seeing all the different ways you can use it is so important for their little brains. Earlier when we were looking at the drums with the babies, one of our little guys, I thought, he was going to be most interested in the texture, but he was flipping it over and putting a shaker inside, and he did it over and over. He was experimenting and learning about the world.
At Seek, we use objects so much in our teaching that we actually keep a whole library of different objects that teachers can use. And some of these are everyday objects, some are a little more special. So over here we have different kitchen implements like a rolling pin here. Sometimes we'll get things that are being deaccessioned or that come from the scientists here. So we have many different types of eggs. This is an emu egg that we are lucky to have in our collection as well.
They will look at an object and use it in a way I never thought possible. Everything becomes a hat in my classroom. We're exposing you to new words and to new objects and to new experiences, and we'll keep revisiting it over and over and over again.
I think when you're teaching young children, having multiple varied exposures to an idea is really important. Play is the work of children. Giving children access to materials and ideas to experiment and play with, and kind of letting them do that work. The toy dinosaurs we saw in the classroom were a certain size, they were a color, they had skin and things like that, and then there were the dinosaur bones, and then there were the kind of larger wooden bone pieces. They were slightly different interpretations of dinosaurs. And so those multiple exposures to what a dinosaur could be is really important because objects are never just one thing.
There's that experiential aspect, but then it's also the emergent curriculum, like in the moment, here's this really cool thing. Makes everything a little bit more tactile. This object connects to these other points that we've been learning about. So that's why I love object-based learning. I think it's the best.